When it comes to Ali Wong Live, while I do sometimes feel like her opener probably wasn't the best in terms of warming up the audience, at least for me, when it comes to Wong, I do honestly feel that her depiction of post divorce life, especially how she's living it, definitely may change your perception and is overall a treat. Going into a summary of both sets, when it comes to Xing Wang, his set is very much all over the place. It's not one topic and just continue to explore. It's about him talking about aging, him talking about people's kids, food, going camping, and a bunch of other topics. All of which feel like they all are like mundane stories that got kicked up a notch a little bit by some pretty interesting insights. But overall, it seems rather tame compared to what Ali Wong talks about, which is life post divorce. And she talks a lot about just having sex. Now, let me be clear, it's not just her having sex, it's also the experience of being 40, divorced, and suddenly, especially because she's a celebrity, having it where people from 25 to 60 find you attractive and want to date you, want to have sex with you, give you gifts, and how it's not necessarily overwhelming to her, it seems, but sometimes feels overdue. And with that in mind, she also kind of goes into dating post-divorce, and not dating to the point where like the people are meeting her kids or anything like that, but just how much she's not trying to deal with that, how much she's just trying not to deal with anymore since she's not necessarily looking for a husband. She doesn't want to have to work on her communication. She doesn't want to have to deal with the real version of these people. She very much wants to stick with the representative, the one who's attractive enough to want to just drop her panties. She doesn't want to deal with the trauma and all that other stuff because right now she just wants to have fun. She wants to enjoy everything life has to offer and what he is willing to offer. But with that said, it's not just her talking about sex, dating, and stuff like that. She does speak about eventually potentially finding love, but I'm going to leave that story for her set. When it comes to the review portion, what's a highlight for both Wong and Wang is the storytelling. When it comes to Wong, she's focused on one topic and spreads out from that topic. Post-life divorce, dating, sex, potentially love after divorce, perhaps the second biggest love of your life, non-family. Wang, all over the place. Mundane stories about going to a bachelor weekend with his friend and going camping, kids, names of foods which are strange, like cumin, like the seasoning that is. And even though it's two very different sets, which sometimes I feel like don't feel like they should be part of the same hour and a half, at the same time, there's no denying that Wang is a good storyteller, sort of like the weird friend you have at work who just, asks how was your weekend, and they almost always have something fun to say. And Wong is that dirty person in your life who just sometimes blows you away by what comes out of their mouth, which out of context probably sounds very dirty. That aside, what we also appreciate and also we felt was a highlight is that Ali Wong's take on divorce, it wasn't, I think the best way to put it is that it didn't feel like a therapy session. She wasn't complaining about what her husband didn't or didn't do. There's no talk about trauma from it or what made it so arduous to be married to this man. What she's focused on is a here and now, what's coming forward. She's talking about enjoying dating, enjoying the sex, having experience with having love again, and stuff that makes you feel that divorce is not this end of the world type of thing. It's the end of a chapter, but that doesn't mean the next chapter has to be miserable, even if you're 40, even if you have kids. And I just really appreciate it because, yes, I'm a man, so different dynamics, much as I'm black, so I don't know what she may go for as an Asian woman, but At the same time, divorce, generally speaking of, as one of the worst things that could happen to you, and with her not making it so that she's necessarily feeling the need to dog out her ex-husband, she even in some ways can even still make it clear that at one time that was the love of her life without kind of dissing him in some way. It's a beautiful thing. And on top of that, they're talking about how things are so great now. I'll admit, when it comes to comedy, I'm somebody who can definitely be a little bit stone-faced because I'm listening to the story more than the jokes. But the way Ali Wong presented life after divorce, it gave you both good stories, definitely a few laughs, and also just makes it so, man, woman, however you feel about it, even if you've never been married, it doesn't make it seem that marriage or even divorce should be the scariest thing in your life. It's an unfortunate thing that, of course, you shouldn't aim for, but at the same time, it's not life or death. Which leads to the on-the-fence topic, which admittedly is kind of complicated for me. As you and I both know, Ali Wong Live eventually is going to end up on a streaming platform, whether it's HBO, Netflix, Paramount Plus, whatever. And with that in mind, it really pushes you to wonder, what is the price that it should be to see jokes before they're refined or before she curates what's the best ones? Is it worth $100 to see the jokes in her set, her hour-long set, before things are perfected? That's where I'm kind of torn about, because yes, it was funny, but was it $100 funny? Was it $100 to watch her opener, who was kind of cool but not necessarily worth that price, or to listen to Ali for an hour where, yes, she's funny and I definitely think is worth more than like a $20 ticket, but with you knowing that within maybe 6 months to a year, this is all going to be done in the best way possible, high production, everything, and it's going to be on a platform you likely already subscribe to. Is it worth paying $100 just to see it early? I don't know, but at the same time, I'm part of this new era where the question of what entertainment is worth when there's so much that's put out there for free, never mind put into a package where it kind of makes it so you get very used to having a buffet instead of having to pay for just one meal, for lack of a better type of way of comparing things. It makes it much harder to say how funny, how good the stories have to be for you to justify all the money it takes to not only get to the venue but to pay for tickets, deal with the fact that you're in these tight seats and everything. And I don't know, it's always good to see a live experience and live performances, but as we try to do that more and more, I feel like for a lot of things that are going to be filmed and that eventually are going to come out on the platform, like Ali Wong Live, unless you can really just afford to just pay the money, you might as well just wait. Overall, while we definitely find Wong's set enjoyable and we're learning to appreciate Wang's set, there is this feeling that I can't shake where I feel the need to question, is it really worth the premium to see her set before it's filmed, when it's pretty much perfect, a whole hour, just to say you saw it early?